What's up? Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We are not a group of experts, but we do have problems and we want to talk about it and make, the stigma go away, because talking about your problems should not be stigmatized. So to start us off, I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody. My name's Mary. I got introduced to improv through Go Comedy in 2017. If you were watching last week's, you know this already, so I'm going to make it quick and move it on to Amanda.
Oh, I'm over here now. Hi, guys. I'm Amanda. I've been in the community since 2018. Just like Mary last week, I was here, so I won't go into a bunch of stuff. But Go Comedy was my escape and has been the key to my mental health for the last 3 years, or however many years. So here.
Bob is
Bob.
Hello. I'm Bob. I've been improvising since 2004 when Second City came to Novi, and I happened to be living there. And then when that closed down, Go opened, so that was where all my friends started hanging out, and that was half a face. So that was like my home away from home at my clubhouse. That's where I get away from life's crap, if you will. And this guy is PJ.
He's our special guest today. Hi, PJ.
Yeah.
Hi, how's it going? My name is PJ. I'm one of the owners of Go Comedy. We started it up 13 years ago now. And before that, I got my start as a student at Second City, Detroit, back in 1997. And that just feels old to say. And but
I was 5.
I was
5.
Shut up. I was 10.
I was 20. No, I was 18.
We're happy to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to the discussion.
So, for today's Wellness Wednesday, we brought PJ on because we really wanted to kind of dive into the effects that parenting might have on our mental health, especially during this pandemic where, and Amanda as well, who is also a parent, what it's like to be not only in charge of trying to run and raise a household, but now that your kids are with you, most of the time, what that's been like. But before we dive into that, I like the introduction that Natalie had in place for us last week. So we're going to talk about something we're grateful for, something that's been a struggle, and something we're looking forward to. So I guess I'll start. I am grateful for the warm weather, and knock on wood, but I think it's going to stay. If it doesn't, don't come at me with pitchforks. Jinxing is not a thing. It wasn't my fault. Something that's been a struggle. I don't know, man. I think mental health's just always a struggle for me. Just depression and anxiety. I've been working on just trying to be a confident employee. I guess if we're gonna get specific, just trying to make it known that I can be that boss bitch if I need to be, but it's hard. That's not really my personality. So I'm working on that. And then something I'm looking forward to just this summer, I've got a lot of plans and they're scary. Plans are scary, but at the same time, very exciting. So yeah, I mean, those are my things. What about you, Amanda?
Oh man. So first off, great intro to everything. You just jumped right in. So good job.
Oh, thanks.
So
I'm so nervous. I need Natalie.
Oh no, you're being that boss lady you want to be.
Yeah, you want to talk about being a boss bitch. You're it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say boss lady. That feels better.
It's fine. That's fine.
To me.
I'm calling her boss bitch. You good.
Yeah.
So a rose for me, especially today, is just having friends around you who understand when you need to be taken out of what you're in and just kind of given some space and just to kind of decompress. And then a thorn, I would say, is, struggle. Saying no. I'm really trying to tell people to stop coming to me with their problems. I can't fix everyone. And then something I'm looking forward to is just the summer. I've got my kid, all his camps are lined up. We've got a bunch of weeks lined up for up north. So just looking forward to kind of some getaways that we haven't had in the last year. So yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. Things I'm looking forward to, or things I'm grateful for. Honestly, I really like. I've been doing a podcast with James Casada every Sunday, and just like everybody now, we all have podcasts. But I really just enjoy having those conversations I miss having at the bar. So to me, that's kind of part of my personality. So being even a synthesized version of that, I'm really happy to do. So those mean a lot to me. So I'm glad we do them. Things I've been struggling with, house stuff, learning, and realizing I'm not as handy as I thought I was. But thank God for YouTube, because I can fake it till I make it. I tried to put string in a weed whacker, and it took me like 2 hours, and I was getting really frustrated. It was a thing. It was. Three YouTube videos. 3 YouTube videos, and I finally got it.
Hey man, you got there. You got there. That's a win. That's
all that matters. Yeah.
It wasn't a tall hill to climb, but it took a minute. Things I'm looking forward to. We got some weddings coming up this weekend. We're going to my cousin's wedding in Florida, and then I'm really looking forward to that, seeing family. And then later on, we have some friends getting married, Mike and Katie, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody, because I haven't seen a lot of my friends, girlfriends, in so long. It's just gonna be nice to have everybody safe in one place. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
PJ.
Hey, all right. Well, I'm gonna start off with grateful, because that's how this works. And I am, last Saturday or a couple days ago was my 10th wedding anniversary.
Hey.
That was such a cute picture. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes.
It really was. So
I know, we cute.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm incredibly grateful for my wife, Lisa, to have, this last year, to have a partner that, we both helped each other up and made it okay when we were down. And just, knowing that she's got my back and I've got hers is, I feel incredibly fortunate to have managed to woo her into my life. So, and
Aww.
the anniversary was really nice. So yeah, I'm grateful for her. My struggle, last year when we closed, I lost my business, my hobby, my social life all at the same time. And last year was a lot of struggle of sort of trying to find myself, because, with everything kind of taken off the table, I didn't know what to do anymore, because it's what I had done for like 20 years straight. And it's still, it still is a struggle figuring out kind of, who I am. And that got real deep real fast. And so we're going to bring it back with what is
we're here for, man. I like
it. I know. And I'm looking forward to getting back to work. I've enjoyed a lot of this last year, and I think we're about to talk about some of that. But also I like being busy, and I like having things to do, and I'm just ready to, get the building back together so we can get back on stage and get back at it. So that's I'm still cautious, but very excited for that next step.
That's awesome.
We're
yeah,
excited
I'm
too.
really excited too. I think we all, all the members of that community are just pumped.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of normalcy is kind of scary, but I definitely miss Go. So
yeah.
And
we'll be back.
I mean, I know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know that we have kind of a schedule laid out, but just speaking of Go and all of that, was there ever a moment where you thought, that it may not come back? Was that ever a thought in your mind?
Nope.
No. Good, because
No.
it wasn't mine, and I wanted to email you guys and be like, so what's happening? Because I'm scared. Please don't die. Have all my money.
Yeah.
No, I mean, when we shut down, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, like yourselves, sort of rose up to help us, raise some money initially to get things sort of, safe. And then, we were able to get we got one loan that I really don't want to use, but we got some grants that we don't have to pay back. And, so those kind of happened early on. So I couldn't have, I can't predict what it was gonna be. I mean, it could just be, one space and shows once a week, but, I knew that I never doubted that we would get back to it. The community is too strong. The love is too deep. And we were going to find a way one way or another, but luckily we got some grants that also helped make that a lot easier.
Nice. That's awesome. That's great. I mean, obviously at this point, I've been feeling confident for everyone and everything, but when that moment of uncertainty came for a lot of us who really love and rely on Go, like as a social outlet, I think a lot of us freaked out, like we were like, oh man, turns out a lot of our friends are a bunch of dorks at Go.
Right. Well, if you think about how many relationships and babies owe their existence to Go, I mean, just this year alone,
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I met my wife at the bar.
Yeah, I met my girl at Go. I mean,
There you go.
That's awesome. Yeah. And speaking of babies and being a parent, I guess I'll move into what this is really meant to be about, which is being a parent during the pandemic. And what are some of the difficulties, you've faced, Amanda, you've faced, and then Bob, you and I can talk about loved ones, but right. The main deal is parenting.
Anything else would just be speculation. Yeah.
So, starting with you, PJ, have you found it to be, I guess, what are the blessings that have come from it, but also what are the honest struggles that have come from it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the blessing for me is this last year, I spent more time with my kids than I ever will. I mean, at no point in my life will I ever get to spend this much time with my family. And for me, that was a huge blessing. I got to, really watch them grow up, not just send them off to school and be surprised when they're a little bit taller, which is what it's like normally. I mean, you don't even notice all of the changes because everything just moves so damn fast. And, I spent, 400 days with them, like, with 200 because my oldest, I share custody. So 200 with him and 400 with the little one.
Oh my God. When you break it down to days, that's, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, and it's, and I rounded down, to be honest, but it's like,
yeah, you did.
But it's just, and for me, it was such a blessing. I mean, because my little one, went from 3 to 4, which is like a huge developmental jump. Yeah. And, I read, my wife was able to work this whole time. So, I mean, she worked 9 to 5 here in the office, and I ran, dad's school and took care of the house and, did what I could for the theater behind the scenes. But for me, I mean, that was just, it was such a special opportunity because, he's too young to be on screens and he wasn't back at school. So it was just, we got to make art and I taught him how to write and we have conversations and it's just, and that will never happen again. I mean, unless there's another pandemic, but but there won't be. Yeah. Sorry.
So how does dad's school work? Do they give you a syllabus and you have to kind of do the worksheets or?
Yes, Bob.
Wow.
It's just watching YouTube videos.
See, I get raising kids. Yeah. I get raising kids.
You'll do great.
No. A kid can't be more complicated than a weed whacker. I mean,
I was like, if you can get a string out of a weed whacker, you can raise a kid.
You got it.
We are not experts. We are not experts.
I can't say that enough. We are not experts.
We are.
They might be, but we are not.
No.
Oh God. Funny.
Do you really want to know about Dad's school?
Yeah, actually, I do
Yeah,
because
come on.
I you know what? Honestly, like I would imagine, and not to sound cliche, but I bet you learned a lot from him as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I learned all over the place. I mean, so Dad's school was 2 hours in the morning. We would do reading. He would work on his writing, and then we do some kind of workbook or whatever. And that's I don't know if you saw like the flashcard video that I made a while back. That's where all that came from. Was trying to like understand. He had all these flashcards that weren't great. Like you couldn't really tell necessarily always what they were trying to get you to do.
Are you talking about your TikTok videos?
I'm trying very hard not to, but yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I saw those. So did everyone else.
Right. I don't know if you are 3 out of the 100,000 people who saw my videos.
I mean, it was 3.3 million, Bob. But I mean, whatever.
Oh, you know, whatever.
I'm not expert on counting. I don't know.
Semantics, whatever.
PJ's on Kimmel next, so let's keep this
Yeah. But so those flashcards also came out of Dad's school. You don't want that.
Did Facebook ask me to watch your kids?
Yeah, all
always
of them.
listening.
All right.
All of Facebook.
And then in the afternoon we'd always do an art project. So his like playroom wall is all covered with the art that we did in Dad's school. Which is awesome because we've got I'll have a memory of it until we take it down and put up posters or something. But yeah, so that was, I mean, we did that for all of last year into the beginning of this year when he finally started going back to preschool. And it kept me sane. I mean, it was really like there were certainly chunks last year. I mean, without any kind of calendar to stick to, you're just kind of floating, right? I mean, so Dad's school for me was just, it was something I could count on that it was in my calendar. And it kept me grounded, and it was a really special, it was a special time for me.
It seems like it was definitely more of a positive experience for you, but were there any struggles that you faced in regards to like trying to cater to your child 100% of the time?
Oh, sure. I mean, in a couple of different ways. I mean, one, trying to, he's, like I said, he's now 4.5, but explaining to a 3 and 4-year-old how COVID works and why, he can't see his friends, or without also terrifying him, to be scared of germs the rest of his life, which, I mean, and who knows how much of an effect this will have on him long term. So that was certainly one of the balances. And then the other one is, I mean, for a long time, I'm kind of his only friend. I mean, so I don't want a helicopter, but also like, I don't want him just to sit and be lonely. So it's a hard balance. And now that he's back at preschool, that is and the kids next door have been over. So we're starting to like ease him back into the world too. But that was, I mean, you don't ever want to see your kid, suffer unneedingly. But also it's really hard to get anything done in any way for myself because, I've almost always got to be there. Because Lisa's job was a lot more involved, so it was a lot harder for her to kind of step away.
Do you find yourself missing it almost in a way as things like return to normalcy, or is it bittersweet, I guess, or?
It is. I mean, it really, I feel, I don't feel, it's certainly bittersweet. And I feel bad, like, that this last year was real special. I mean, parts of it were really special to me, and I know that your
kid's not watching. You can say whatever you want.
No. I mean, but I know, like, a lot of people, I mean, suffered and struggled like with their children this last year in a way that I didn't, and I feel real fortunate for that. I think had he been a couple years older, had we been trying to do 3rd grade, I mean, my heart goes out to those parents, like trying to do a job while also trying to keep a child glued to a screen while also not wanting your child glued to a screen. Like I feel real fortunate that we, because my oldest is in high school, and so that was a lot easier for him to just do computer school. But those, like elementary, I that's got to be way, way harder. I would imagine.
Amanda, how old is your child?
Henry is 6.5. So
Okay,
so he was in kindergarten last year, and when everything shut down. So my New Year's resolution last year, before the pandemic, was to say yes to more things. Not give the excuse of, oh, I have to work, or I have this to do, or blah, 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 whatever it was. So I was already kind of in that mindset. And then when everything shut down, it was, and my kid goes to Detroit Public Schools. So there was not a lot of things that were organized.
Yeah.
He was going to like an hour of online school a day. And I was also working. So it was really hard because he was like, let's go play. Let's go do this. Let's go do this. And so I was already in that mode. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go do all that. So I kind of let my work go for a while. I hope nobody from work is watching. I have since come back. But it was a struggle, and it was hard because it was frustrating because I was not used to being with a 6-year-old, well, at that point, a 5-year-old all day, every day, 7 days a week. We had him on the week, like we were with him on the weekends and then in the mornings and at night, but he goes to school. And so that wasn't happening. And it was hard. It was frustrating. We worked through it. And kind of like you, PJ, we had a lot of art projects. And I really, really learned kind of who my child was as a person, and like started really kind of seeing things in his personality that I hadn't seen before. And just kind of watching that personality grow and watching his kindness in different ways was really eye-opening and really awesome to see. And just like you, PJ, like we're never going to get that again.
No.
And I think like, with like our kids' ages, I think that was like a huge blessing. Cause like you said, like second grade, third grade. No. So my heart goes out to parents who and parents who have multiples, who have multiple kids that they're trying to, feed and get on their computers, Teams meetings. Here's your homework. Here's this. It's hard. And also you have to work. You have to you got to change your sheets. You got to do the laundry. You got to
it stacks up.
Yeah. You gotta.
Sometimes you got to do this. Not everybody at home knows what we talk about. That's okay. But you have to do everything you were doing and add on those things that nobody really. I mean, my hat goes off to stay-at-home moms. You are, my God.
Yeah.
All of the roses to you, because I could never do that. I know my limitations, and I think this past year has really shown me what those limitations are. And it's been a year, but I'm happy we're almost to the end. I love my kid.
I love
watching.
I can't. I felt a butt coming on there.
Is he watching?
He just like peers up from behind the screen, like.
No.
Well, so I had to quick get off my screen because he was like, "Mom, are you on the screen? Are they going to see me?"
No.
And hey, Bob.
Hey.
Let's just forget about us and move on to more parents.
That's fair. That's fair.
Cool?
I totally support that. Yes.
All right, cool. Just because I want to focus on that because I think it's really important. And I just in regards to mental health and everything, having your kid home 100% of the time, having your spouse home along with your child home 100% of the time for the most part. Have you found it difficult to focus on your mental health? Has it been difficult to prioritize yourself at times? And we'll start with PJ, but Have you found yourself being like, wow, I haven't cared about myself for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, there's no alone time. I mean, like 400 days. I mean, 24/7. And the space that's mine doesn't have a door, so it's like, there's really no, you can go sit in your car and, but that's it. I mean, like, that's the one thing, is there's really no alone time. There's no space. And that was real hard. I mean, that was certainly the hardest part of it, I think, for me, is, before this, everyone was gone by 8, and I had 2 hours to myself to do what? I mean, play a video game even that, that had swears in it, because otherwise I'm not playing because now, I can't play that until everyone's asleep. And at that point, it's the hour that, that Lisa and I get together before she goes to bed. So it's just like, it's finding those moments and figuring out what to do with them. But it's really hard to prioritize. I spent an absurd amount of time last year trying to find a therapist. I kept getting paired with people that shouldn't be therapists. Period.
I feel you,
one guy was like complaining about his other patients to me and like telling me their problems, and then he was like, "Oh, and this one girl wants to be a singer."
No.
And I'm like, "You've got to stop that." And I'm like, "All right, we're done." Like,
you were the therapist for your therapist.
yes. Oh my
illegal,
God, yes.
by the way.
No.
I know. I complained about it. But so I with the intention of improving mental health, it was a real hard time finding the right person to talk to, even, which I thought would have been a lot easier, with teleconference, but it was still, it's hard. I mean, even there's no real good way to there should be like a Tinder for therapists, so that you really understand, who they are, where they're coming from. So we're going to package that, and we'll form a company when this is done. Because that was really you just sort of get stuck with someone, and depending on their specialty or where they're coming from in their own life, it was real hard to find the right match who understood where I was at. So struggling to find a therapist is its own, therapy inducing task.
Right,
Sure.
it really is.
Yeah. I had a therapist who used baby talk on me one time, and I can't unsee that. That's our last thing.
No.
I don't know what are you doing? We didn't discuss
Little
this.
Bobby, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. Yeah, and scene. Goodbye.
Oh, is Little Bobby sad?
Oh, you know her. Yeah. Not comfortable.
You sure it wasn't some weird escort service that you accidentally hired?
Well, I did discover a kink, but not good therapy.
Poor Natalie.
She's not watching. Don't watch.
Yeah.
Oh, they both take a drink.
Everybody take a drink.
That was good.
Yeah.
Everybody
LaCroix up.
Yes, LaCroix.
What about you, Amanda? Has that been a thing that's been difficult for you to try to focus on?
Yeah, I think same as PJ. I mean, you don't have any alone time. You're with your kid all day, wherever they are. I mean, so my situation's a little bit different since the beginning of. Oh, Natalie's watching. My situation's a little bit different. We do have a pod, so every morning, Monday through Friday, there's 5 kids total. They come to my house. We have a teacher upstairs. So now this whole year, he's been away from me for 8 hours a day, which has been nice because I can kind of get back into my work life and have that kind of separation and have him socialize more. He has still yet to walk into a school this year, and he won't. So I'm really hoping for that 2021-2022 year. Go out of the house. Please. Today I was on a work call with my boss, and I hear my kids start screaming, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta go, hold on. So I run over to him. It sounded like he broke his face. And I was like, what the hell's happening? And he's like, I want an adult mask. I don't want a baby mask. I'm like, this is okay. So here, bye. So it's like stuff like that. And, just he's at the age where he's really learning to like regulate his emotions and stuff. So I feel like I've been taking on the emotions of a whole nother person, which I would have been doing anyway, but it's just kind of like the timing is weird. And like we talked about last week, I was at Target and I saw a cross stitch thing. It probably has 3 stitches. It's cactus. Haven't touched it.
Way to go, dude. Way to go.
I moved it next to my like it's on my nightstand. I haven't even opened it.
That's 3 stitches more than last week, right?
Yeah, basically.
Right?
Way to go, dude.
Make it, yeah. So I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I'm like kind of at the point right now where I'm like right here. Wait. Oh, I am not equal.
None of us are now. It's all right.
And
it just keeps on stacking.
Right? Stack. But my
Pete's not even watching.
like
he knows
that like a complete freak out is coming.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of my cycle of like, and then I'm like, okay, I'm okay. So, it's just, I think you have to just learn how to deal with what's being thrown at you and, take it in stride and know that the future has different things. And, with things opening up and things changing and people getting vaccinated, I know, our kids' ages, there's no vaccine for them yet. So I think that brings a whole nother strain. And I don't know, I have friends who won't get vaccinated and they're like, oh, hang out. And I'm like, no, no. Thanks, bye. So yeah.
I was like, I'm trying not to show my opinions, but
right, same. I
know.
I'm an opinionated person.
Yeah. I was in a Target today. I saw someone without a mask, and I know that's okay under.
Okay now.
Yeah, but I can't get past. Like in my brain, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It's very jarring to see it. I mean, it's cool that we're at that position, but it's going to take some time to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is going to kind of go in a different direction than planned. But Amanda, you brought up knowing your pattern, and I feel like that's like knowing when you're about to blow. And I feel like I personally, being locked in one spot for many, many days at a time, have started to notice certain things about myself. And so while this might not kind of go along with the whole parenting aspect, just real quick, I want to ask, have you noticed being able to tell like, oh, this is about to happen because this is what happened the other time and I've been in one spot, so there's no other external factors keeping me from like focusing on what's happening inside, and just like understanding that pattern within yourself a little bit more. PJ, you can if that, or Bob, No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
I did. Yeah, please, Bob.
You can do it. No. Okay.
What I think is.
Finally. I think you're absolutely right. Like right now, it's easy to make an observation when there's so few things to observe because you're stuck in the same place. And being stuck with the same 2 or 3 people in the same household, you observe everything, and the patterns themselves become annoying. And then but you also learn the warning signs, so you know what not to do because you probably made that mistake last week. So I mean, there's there is good and bad. I told Natalie this the other week. Like I'm definitely going to propose to you because if you can put up with me through this, everything else is going to be easier when things open. This is the hardest thing we'll probably have to go through.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I know, right? I feel like we just witnessed something.
I know.
When the engagement party.
Oh, well, she wasn't watching. I would have told you, but
We'll keep it
as
posted.
soon as she figures out that weed whacker, there is a ring.
Oh, Natalie.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, I have.
there
I've seen
was
that.
one argument, and I caught her like, "Oh, you're getting mad because you do this every time this happens," and it stopped the argument because she went, "Aw." Like, yeah, I pay attention.
Oh, you know why I'm mad. It's
Aw. That's
cute.
cute though. It's
Yeah.
nice to know that your person knows you and
Yeah.
knows like, you know, like when not to push and stuff like that. I think that me and John have been together for 13 years, and I think, God, don't you
Wow.
know this by now?
Mary was 5 when you got together.
It was 1992. I had just thrown the jewel over the Titanic. God. But yeah, that's a nice thing to have in a relationship. And whether or not you have kids yet, or you're dealing with your own parents or whatever, you're caretaking for anybody, whether it be your person or other people, it's nice to know their patterns and their tics and things that bother them, and how to navigate those things so that, I don't know, you can take care of them. It's important. It's important.
And if I can piggyback off of that, I think us as humans sometimes forget how to ask for help. So we also learn like, oh, my partner doesn't pay attention or doesn't pick up on this thing. Right. I have to be more vocal. I have to not be so. I shouldn't expect them to be mind readers. Tell them what you need, because they're not supposed to know everything about you.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Nice.
Yesterday, I was slamming the dishwasher shut, and I was like, John's like, you okay? I'm like, you should know. What? And I was like, I'm going upstairs. I was upstairs for like 5 minutes, and I was like, why am I mad? I don't know.
Oh, that's the worst when you get mad. Like, what happened?
Right? I'm like, what? So,
or if you go over your reasoning for being mad, you finally get to it, and you're like, wow, that's humiliating. I need to come up with a better reason for being angry.
When you have to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but growing up, I had a horrible temper, and the lady that helped raise us, she had this trick that drove me insane, because I would start to lose my temper, and she would go, well, what's wrong? And then I would tell her, and she would go, so what? And then I would go, no, you don't. Oh, just. And then she would go, well, so what? And then I couldn't explain why that was upsetting, and it would immediately deflate the temper, and then that would like tick me off in a different way. So like I try to use that anytime I like lose it, and I'm not sure why.
Thank you for the parenting tip.
Yeah, that's a good note. It's a good note for me. I feel like recently I've been trying to focus on like what is triggering this wildly, exuberant emotion. But yeah. Anyway, we can move on. I just thought that was something interesting that I had noticed personally. But PJ, family, friends, work, etc. versus you. What are the struggles and successes you've had in managing that balancing act?
Well, I mean, I think for me, and just the way that my brain works, when we shut down in March, like I knew what it was going to be. Like I knew, it was going to be a year to a year and a half. I knew that we weren't going to see anyone, and I just kind of like built that wall of like, this for me is what it's going to be, and I just lived in it. Like so I think I know that I was probably more cautious than a lot of people. but for me, sorry, I don't know if you can
they're agreeing, PJ. They're all agreeing.
That's what bedtime sounds like here.
Oh.
Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. But I kind of like laid the groundwork of like this is for me how I have to deal with it is these are the rules. I'm gonna follow the rules and period. And so I didn't really see. I mean, I really didn't see many people. And I think sort of being real upfront about how I needed to do it made it at least easier for me to just keep going back to that, so that it wasn't. There was just a lot of like, we'll be back in a year. We'll be back in a year. Like it was really like a weird pause for me on like just my entire life.
Yeah, I feel like I feel that I've learned a lot of lessons through the pause too. Like are there lessons or things that you've learned throughout just being able to sit in this one spot for so long that you intend to kind of carry with you moving forward?
Yeah, I learned a lot more from TikTok than I can even like put into words. I mean, like I learned, years ago I had a therapist who told me I was the most empathetic person she'd ever met. And for years I wore that like as a badge of honor. And then the older I got, the more I realized, oh no, that's also a real problem. And learning a lot about empathy and like how it really does affect my life. And like I was diagnosed with ADHD forever ago and just sort of stopped. I just sort of pretended that I wasn't for like 8 years. But like kind of going back to that and to like understand like, how it affects me and how I approach the world differently because of that. And like all things that I just sort of have been ignoring for a long time, like the way that I see the world or the way I approach the world. And TikTok, man, there's the spiritual guru that like I started to follow and like, it's just very like
your TikTok is very different than mine.
Yeah.
She watches microwaves explode. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Yes, Mary, that's what I watch.
But yeah, like some spiritual stuff and some ADHD and empathy TikToks, like they just started to show up in my feed, and the algorithm was right. Like it really was helpful to me. Like it really, like I've always considered myself a very spiritual person, but I don't do shit about it. And this really kind of, pushed me towards, meditating more. And there's still things I wish I could certainly be healthier in other ways, but TikTok, I really like shone the light on the right, my feed was just the right people at the right time in like in a weird universe. The universe provides kind of a way that involves TikTok, and it bothers me so much.
Hey man,
that's how it was delivered.
Great.
Hey man,
but that's how it was delivered.
My yeah, like I feel like I became friends with these YouTubers that I watched regularly. Yeah. And I'm like, my buddy didn't post this week. What's wrong, dog? Like, we found weird ways to cope. But Amanda, you raised your hand when I asked that question earlier. So what was it you were gonna say? I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. So for me, I think right before everything shut down, like my life was moving really fast, and I went out a lot and just kind of bopping around here and there. And when everything shut down, I really got a chance to like focus on family and focus on my relationship with my husband and with my child, and kind of fall into that like mom role that I have been in, but I was kind of bucking.
100%.
Okay, so you get it. So okay,
100%.
That's a really beautiful thing to say too. Like that's a powerful thing to say. So that's awesome.
Like now I'm like, oh, like I am that mom. Like I'm the baseball mom. I go to the zoo and I look like a mom. I'm going everywhere. I'm going to the bar and I look like a mom. You're going to see me at the bar and you're like, oh, that's a mom. Like, I am leaning into this
Because we're all
mom shit.
ashamed.
Oh my God, she's a mom.
Uh,
But I'm like leaning into so many different aspects of like being a mom that I was not trying to like skirt out of, but like I was just kind of like, oh, that'll happen later. That it'll happen when I'm older. When I hit 40, I don't know. Like when I think of like moms, I think of my mom, and I'm like, oh, that's not me. No. Like I love my mom, but I just wasn't there yet. So I think this past year has just like really, really allowed me to be like, being mom is dope, and that's who I am.
Yeah,
look like a mom. And let me tell you, wearing T-shirts that remind you that you're killing it, that also helps with my self-esteem. So
that's
That's
dope.
awesome.
sometimes you have to
That's
look
so
in the mirror
cool.
and be like, oh yeah, got it. So, yeah.
That's dope.
What about you, Bob? Any lessons you're gonna take with you?
Yeah, you know what? The biggest thing I guess I had to learn about myself is how not to be introverted when I'm uncomfortable. For someone who spends as much time being around people or on stage, I'm a lot more shy than I like to let on, and that's part of my self-defense mechanism. I imagine if I wasn't sharing a space with somebody, I probably would have been like the world's greatest video gamer by now, because I would just man caved it up and just focused on myself. And that's been part of my life, like until me and Natalie moved in together, it's just been me. So I just only had to consider myself, and I think you kind of get comfortable with that, and not that I think of myself as selfish, but I think I do make selfish decisions based off of, well, who cares? It's just me here, So learning that that's something you can't do when you're sharing a space with somebody was something I had to learn. It's still working on. I was by myself for 10 years, so learning how not to do that. It's breaking a habit, if you will. But we're getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, also you learned how not to. You went from being single to being all together all the time.
Yeah.
I mean that's not a normal.
That's not normal.
No.
Yeah. So like you said at the beginning, I think this past year has been like super make it or break it for people.
Yeah.
And if you made it, you're golden. Don't quote me. Don't.
It kind of felt
I'm not going to pay for anybody's divorce bills or anything. But,
He said we were golden.
I'm sorry.
It felt like that movie Pleasantville, and every time I made a good decision, it went from black to white to red. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's how humans live. I'm one of you now. Welcome.
Beep blorp bloop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the whole like being together all the time. I mean, I was together with my now husband all the time, pretty much, outside of work and everything too. But like then we were together all the time in this small apartment that we live in. And I was like, man, every day goes by and I'm not fucking sick of you yet. Like, it's just like, this is pretty great. Awesome. I think we're going to make it. That's and awesome. Then, but then at the same time, I was also like, but tonight I'm going to go into the bedroom. I'm going to shut the door. And don't come in until I'm asleep.
Like, man, you know your boundaries, you know what you need, and you verbalize it. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. You just have to, you got to know those things about yourself. It's been a work in progress for all of us, I'm sure. But, and you gotta be able to have that me time. So that leads me to my last question. What a great segue. So amidst being in a home with other people and you can't leave, like, how do you make me time? Do you have me time? Would you like to have more me time? What is your me time?
Well, right at the end of 2019, we installed a bathtub. I'm gonna say 95% of my me time was in that bathtub. Because it's the only place where you can lock the door, and no one's gonna barge in on that. So
they're not. Oh.
Challenge.
Oh, that's cute. That's really cute. Your family has boundaries. That's so nice. Good for you. Hey.
But yeah, no, that was probably the most alone time I got.
Yeah,
And
no, alone time doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No.
Did it like satiate your need for that me time? Like, did it do what you needed it to do, or?
I mean, sometimes. I mean, it's the last year was
Amanda, Jesus Christ.
The last year was such a roller coaster. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes you just sat in a bathtub.
Yeah. No water and clothes on.
Oh yeah,
no. You were there.
Yeah.
It's a glass of wine. The water's running.
Yeah.
Totally dressed.
Right.
I think for me, like, I got rid of my car. I sold my car last July because it was just sitting in my garage. And so not having that commute either way to work, that half hour in a car by myself that was probably the biggest struggle for me, because it was like the time that I kind of like got amped up for work or like my day, and then like that kind of like decompressed me on my way home. So going from my office that's right there, I walk out and now I'm here and here's my people, and there's no half hour in between. And they're like, hey, are you gonna can I have a snack? Can I have an apple? Can I have a pear? Can I have some cereal? Were you watching a show? Can I have a popsicle? Can I have a treat? Can I have chocolate? Like,
and that was just her husband.
Right. Thank you. Like, you have hands and legs, go get it yourself. So it's like that half hour time frame. But that half hour like time frame of just like listening to the radio or whatever was huge for me. So I think in the past year I've learned to kind of get rid. I don't need that anymore. But for me, I mean, alone time or it's me time is just, it's hard to come by, and I just kind of deal with it. I don't even know how else to say that.
Yeah, I will say I stayed up a lot of later nights than I should have, because it was the only time that everyone here was asleep, and it wasn't necessarily good. It was like, knock off me time.
You're like, I'm staying awake just to stay awake.
Yeah.
It's just me, and I am miserable, but damn it, I am alone and awake.
I've officially taped my eyelids to my forehead, but this is happening.
From the bottom up? Oh my gosh.
What about you, huh?
A lot like PJ, I was doing that late night thing, especially when Natalie was working and I wasn't. So it was like, oh, well, if I don't go to bed till 5, I can sleep through her work day, and I can get up right around the time she's getting out of work, and then we can hang out. She goes to bed, and then it's all Bob. But now, those late nights were like empty calories. They weren't really filling. It was just it was me indulging in like just want to be an introvert. So now I find projects, because I like to dive in. Like if I can find like a woodworking project or something, or putting a weed whacker together for 2 hours, I can just focus on that thing, because I'm ADHD as well. So I need something to focus, something that's not an adult, too adulty. Just take the pressure off, just indulge in something, and then have a time limit, and then go back to reality. I don't have to think about bills. I don't have to think about Ford. I don't have to think about mask or any other BS. It's just me and a project, and then pull back, and it's a great way to relieve stress, because you're not dealing with that crap for an hour or two.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I find like when you are doing things like that, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but you get into sort of this weird zone where everything else just kind of fades away. Because I sort of did the same thing, I guess, over quarantine, now that you mention it, where I just really delved into hobbies, and hours would go by and then I'd be like, oh shit, I've not eaten all day. like
Yeah.
when did night happen?
I don't have that issue.
Yeah, well, see, Bob and I don't have children yet, so we're just soaking this in while we still
No
can.
one has asked for a popsicle from me in 20 years.
I'm like, oh, you want a popsicle? I'll have 14.
Right?
My husband asked for popsicles, but I mean, you give it to him, then I go back to my project, But
I asked for the popsicles in my house.
That's a good way to avoid it. Just don't have them in your home.
There you go.
So I was looking in when I was trying to think about what we were going to be talking about and trying to think about parenting and for Bob and I, relationships, but just in general, but how to incorporate me time into together time. And one of the things I saw that kind of struck a chord with me personally was having together time, but doing an activity that fills your bucket, basically, that fills your emotional bucket, that is something you really enjoy, and that you would like to share with your child or your partner or whoever else it might be. But in that moment, you're getting a lot of fulfillment out of it because it's something you want to do. So whoever wants to start off, we can start with PJ, we can end with PJ, we can start with Amanda. Let's start with Amanda. So what is something you would like to do with your kid or your spouse or whoever else?
Okay. So board games and card games became really big in my house.
Oh yeah.
Right? Real big. So one of the big ones that I really wanted my kid to learn is Racco. I don't know if you guys have ever played it.
Never heard of it.
Oh,
I love board games and card games.
So it's a card game. It's really fun. Just look it up. I actually was really drunk and I ordered it on Amazon. It came in the mail and I was like, oh my God, someone bought me Racco. And then I checked my Amazon orders and I was like, it was me. Okay.
That's awesome.
So, but Racco for me, it was the game that my mom played with me and my brother as children that taught me how to lose. My mom never let us win. And
Someone knows.
Best game ever. Thank you. So fun. But quite honestly, like it was like the biggest like life lesson for me. And I've kept that life lesson throughout life. Still here. But just learning how to lose and like having your kid learn how to lose and like still have fun, I think was like a huge thing. So that was like the one thing that I was like, this is fun for me because now I'm in my mom's shoes and I get to win all the time. But like also I'm teaching my kid a lesson and everybody's still having fun. So that was mine. The end. Bye.
For me, again, in the past, I mean, he helped me with my TikToks. He was my DP, and it was great. Lining up the shots, it was and so we would make movies, which was really fun. I mean, and he's very much into art, and it's hard to be upset about that. So, I've made many crayon drawings and cutouts, and he's got clay now. So, but it's something that we've always been able to do together, and I love creating, so it's been nice. And then we have a game called Beat That, which actually I bought for my teenager for Christmas, and the little one loves it. And it's like a game of like challenges. So it's like, throw a ping pong ball into a solo cup, or, hold two chopsticks and walk across the floor. It's basically like party games.
Yeah.
But he has spent the last 6 months or 5 months, whatever month it is, making his own challenges. That's the one.
Add to cart.
Yep. Super fun. But then we expanded upon what the actual original game was, to make new challenges, some impossible. some, very fun.
Can you give an example of an impossible one?
They're usually his, and it usually involves a ping pong ball needing to split in half in the air.
What, you don't have a ninja sword you can do that with?
He's 4. When he's 5, he gets his sword.
All right.
It's a rite of passage. God.
Legit. That passes the mom test.
All right.
That's awesome.
That's
What about
awesome.
you, Bob? What is something you do with Natalie to like fill your bucket, but also have fun?
We like to do there's like a range. So depending on what mood, like if she needs and I need to move, like just taking a good walk, to get ice cream, or she likes to walk, but I need a carrot at the end of the stick. And by carrot, I mean ice cream or a drink. So we will either, hey, let's go for a walk. Okay, but I'm not going around the block. We have to go to the local bar, have a drink, and come back, or do something because or if we just feel like staying at home. She's not really. She didn't really watch a lot of movies growing up, so I like to pick a movie off like one of my favorite lists and stuff like that, and we watch it together. So it really depends on what kind of night we're having.
Did she get scared?
Oh yeah, and finding ones that get Natalie jump scares are always my favorite, which does not take much.
I hope I just scared her.
Probably. I heard a bump.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I think just going to the movies thing and all that. I used to not want to share like creators on YouTube with Nick, my husband, because I'm like, what if he says they're dumb and that'll hurt my feelings? But then I'm like, no, can we just watch this with me? And he's gotten into a few of them with me, and that's been super fun. Nice, Natalie.
It's true. I have to
open the door.
I have to announce I'm coming home by calling her from the car before I come home.
But I would say one of the most selfless moments for him, but something that I really just wanted to do. I was like, do you want to do a Biore strip with me where we just like rip our black hats out of our nose? And he was like, not really. And I was like, please. Just little stupid shit that I'm like, let's just do this together because there's nowhere else to do it. So whatever. Just doing those things that you want to do, making yourself a priority every now and then. It's okay. And honestly, it's more than okay. You have to do it. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I do believe you got to take care of yourself. So, well, this has been really great. And PJ, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Bob, thanks for filling in.
Thank you.
And Amanda and PJ, thanks for sharing all of your experiences with your children and how that's affected you and how it's helped you grow and the things that you've overcome while being a parent. It's something to, I don't know, sounds kind of fun, sounds scary, but sounds fun. I definitely still want one eventually. So this conversation hasn't totally scarred me or anything.
I just hope my mom ain't watching or I'm gonna get a phone call.
Bobby,
we can talk offline.
I don't know why she talks like that. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much. And thank you everyone for watching. Come to the Pour Painting Saturday and the Improv Jam next week. Do it. Yes. Support a local business. Have some fun. Paint. Be silly. Throw paint at a friend that's also vaccinated, and we can just have a grand old time.
Right.
Also, if you can't make it to the pour painting, there are do-it-yourself kits you can pick up. I'm picking some up. I think I'm going to pick up 3.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, yeah. And also, I'm going to pretend to do one.
Yeah, we just took my mom there for her birthday, and she's not very do-it-yourself, but she loved it. It was a lot of fun. So I highly recommend it.
A lot of cool stuff there.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure. And those bring it home and do it when you can. I mean, that's still a great way to support a local business while also supporting Go and everything that both of those businesses have done for us. So, PJ, is there anything you want to plug? Bob, Amanda, anything you guys want to plug at all?
Sign up for Run for Laughs if you haven't
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna run a 5K and probably spit out a lung. So come do it with me.
and I'll be at Port Painting for the noon one on Saturday. So I'll have Fletcher with me and Lisa, and looking forward to making a mess.
Yeah, nice.
What's
And
that?
if you sign up for my plug is if you sign up for the Run for Laughs, make sure you stop by Scotty's water table. He's putting up a cool effort. It's good water. He's a great guy. Come check him out. Say hi to Scotty. You know what? Sign up Run for Laughs just to say hi to Scotty. That's my recommendation. That's my.
I like it.
Yeah.
Into it.
And you don't even have to run. That's the best part of this.
No,
So,
no.
If that's not your thing, don't even worry, man. Just support Go and support, a place that is a haven for oddballs, as I like to say. So
Yes. Oh my gosh. Please get me back there.
Soon.
We're dying. Save us.
Do it safely though, PJ. Don't worry.
Yeah,
We have popsicles.
It'll be very easy.
Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you guys so much. And I look forward to seeing your faces very soon.
Yes, you
Please.
too. Thank you so much,
person.
Mary. You're a great moderator. I love you.
Yes,
Oh,
great
thanks.
job.
Natalie,
job.
I missed you. This was stressful. I love you. And, it was fun, though. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to take it over.